Oh, okay. Great. Okay, go ahead, Valencia. Sorry.
I'm sorry, did we need to?
Oh, we hadn't quite admitted everybody to start, but we are ready to go now. So go ahead and start again. Thank you.
Okay, so now we will call the meeting to order then. We'll move forward with the adoption of minutes, the March 26th meeting. Can I have a motion or any objections to the meeting minutes?
Motion.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear whatever that was. Did someone say something?
Make a motion.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Dr.
Second?
Schwartz moved and
I second.
Sally seconded.
Okay, I'm having difficulty hearing. Thank you. So the first order of business is Project Edge, and Thomas is going to walk us through that.
Yes, good morning. My name is Tomasz, and I'm pleased to present you an update on Project Edge. Just a quick reminder and a refresher of what Project Edge is, which I'm going to cover in a sequence of about 15 buzzwords. Project Edge is our technology-enabled business transformation. We're replacing legacy platforms with modern configurable solutions. We're replacing our clinical platform as well as our core claims and process management platform. We undertook this journey to be more agile, giving us the ability to implement change more quickly, as well as improving efficiency across the organization by enabling automation and streamlining processes. When we spoke about Project Edge 3 months ago, we talked about the work that we had remaining with configuring the system and completing the coding required for our first Wave 1 go live in October of this year. Since then, we've completed the technical development work and the configuration work. There's a few stragglers out there with regard to validation of interfaces between us and our third parties and testing some of these connections. But we have completed the development of the vast majority of our solution, and we're well underway in validating it and testing it through the testing phases. You can go to the next slide. We are on track for an October go live. I always like to quote Eisenhower here, and I did last time during the prep as well, that plans are worthless, but planning is everything. We look at dependencies, we look at the systems, we look at workarounds. I cannot tell you precisely what issues and challenges we will run into between now and go live, but we have started preparing for workarounds and contingencies as we continue to vet and validate the solution to ensure that it meets our critical business needs. We're continuing to march forward with the October go live in our development of training materials and getting ready, preparing for cutover, business readiness activities as well, in terms of preparing our procedures of working in the new system by all teams. Now, just a quick preview on future waves. We're continuing to move forward with the requirements and design processes for Wave 2. We expect to be done with collecting the vast majority of requirements and design the solution for Wave 2 in early July. You'll be able to hear about that in our next update. All of that is moving well. As we stand today here in early June, we have not identified any critical gaps within the platform that would require us to build significant modules the way that we did when we undertook this journey earlier last year. So it's positive news about the solution meeting our needs for future waves and us not identifying any major gaps as of yet. Next slide, please. So we have a few watch items. Again, the first watch item I alluded to briefly. When we first undertook this journey, we identified capabilities around billing that simply did not exist within the solution, and we had to build. Health Edge, partner here, built it for us as part of the product to be used by us in New York as well as their other New York clients. We're going to be the first users of this capability, and that carries inherent risk. Our mitigation around this is to have detailed testing of this module. Our teams, in fact, had a number of demos of this functionality as it is being developed to continue our confidence in this solution's ability to meet our business needs. We're going to test it. We've switched the go live sequence. There's a number of mitigations we undertook to ensure we have a high quality solution when we need to use this functionality for wave 2 and after. We're also operating under a fixed timeline. That drives our need to really prioritize what we focus on. We're fully acknowledging the fact that we may go live with an imperfect solution and have workarounds for any deficiencies that we identify. It's not perfect, but we're going live with a small book of business first to enable us to address any of these key mitigations and workarounds before we onboard the vast majority of our business in wave 2. We've talked about resourcing. Again, as we're talking about executing on multiple waves in parallel to meet the program timelines that we have, it requires us, as well as all of our partners, to dedicate resources to the program, which we have, and we're continuing to monitor. I'm going to go to the next slide. The one key update I wanted to make here is now that we are heavily into the validation of our technology solution, it's the business readiness components that are coming to light and beginning to take shape our priorities. Very heavily focused on the training materials, updating our procedures to reflect the new platform our associates will be leveraging to perform our operations, and getting ready for cutover. So we're excited to march forward towards the October go live for wave 1, our SNP members, and be able to serve them using this new set of platforms. Do you have any questions around Project Edge?
When is wave 2 again?
Wave 2 is in the first quarter of 26.
Calendar year.
Calendar year, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're muted, Valencio.
Thanks. I was just saying thanks, Thomas.
Thank you.
Now we're ready for retention with Tabitha.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Tabitha Garcia. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about our membership over the last 12 months. As you will see here, our membership has stabilized over the last 12 months, and that's really good signs on the work that we're doing to maintain and recertify and enroll our members. You'll also see here that our disenrollments have trended downwards. Again, with all the work that we've been doing to make sure that we get our members either renewed, or if they were slated to disenroll, that we assist them and make sure that they truly do not qualify for any of the programs or lines of businesses that they're in. And that's all the update that I have here.
Any questions for Tabitha? All right, moving right along. Lila with Provider Network.
Jay, sorry, how is HRA doing with their research?
So we've been keeping an eye on that, and I actually have, because we always get that data late, right?
Yeah.
It's always about a month late, a month and a half late. So right now I'm looking at March. I do see that it's lower. So what I have my analyst doing is just checking, did we actually get a disenrollment for them, or is it just that we didn't get a renewal for them? So I'm just waiting to get that analysis back to understand what's happening. But for January and February, it was consistent with what we've been seeing all year round. March is the one that I'm different.
What's the percentage to remind us?
We typically are in the 90 percentile when
On the
it comes
HRA?
for HRA.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think we would start seeing the first disenrollment as of May 31st. We should start seeing those disenrollments.
Yeah. So
There's a change,
yeah,
right?
so we got
So-
noted. There was a notice that came out.
Members will start being disenrolled May 31st.
So what do we expect it to be with the disenrollments going from 90 to what?
So when we looked at it before, it was trending in the 80s. So it was about a 5%. When we did the analysis, it was about a 5% difference.
What's the notice from HRA?
It's basically stating that now members, if they do not respond, they will start terming, where before they were just extending. So they're no longer going to extend. everybody has to complete their recertification in order to deem themselves eligible. So there's no more extensions.
So the first batch of disenrollments will be happening May 31st. Yeah. So we're keeping an eye on it.
I think 5% sounds optimistic.
That's what we saw when we did the analysis, but I guess we'll start seeing now.
We should have a mitigation plan.
Yeah.
We talked about it before.
We did.
And what is it?
Well, first, we only saw about 200 or so members a month where we saw that extension happening and applying for. So it wasn't a significant number. So of those 200, we have our field reps in all of our concierge sites. And we're letting members know to go to their concierge sites for more assistance. So that's what we're plugging along and we're
Yeah,
trying
that's what
to
we've been
sit-
doing
So
the
we're
last-
measuring the successes of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because the volume was relatively low, 180 to 200, it was something that we would be able to solve for, as well as working with the care management team
Yep.
on the other lines of business that we could get in front of in terms of when we connect with the members.
Any other questions? Go ahead. Sorry.
I go to provider directory.
Oh, I thought someone was asking a question. Okay, Lila.
Hi, good morning, everybody. So the accuracy of our provider directory continues to be at the forefront of our minds. A lot of initiatives have gone into place so that we can ensure the accuracy of our data, so that it gives our members a better experience and guarantees appointments. So we had partnered with a Better Doctors, a company that would go ahead and validate our provider data information back in July in 2024, and we started a campaign and officially launched those efforts in July 2024, where we educated our providers to submit quarterly rosters and/or test their demographics to Better Doctors, so we could do data validation. We also incentivize those providers that are participating in our pay for performance program, so that we can ensure that we're boosting participation rates across our entire network. MetroPlus started to receive data validation discrepancies in October of 2024, and we have been loading them into our provider records, and they would then show up on our provider directory. So we are seeing good results through that partnership. In addition to that, in 2024, we started to launch monthly secret shopper surveys across our network, where we randomly select medical providers, BH providers, and specialists, calling them up, making sure that they understand that they do participate with MetroPlus, that their demographic information is accurate, their phone number is accurate, and they are accepting new patients. And so when we do identify discrepancy through those efforts, we work with our teams to educate those providers, make sure that they are participating with the Better Doctors initiative, and we update our records. In addition to that, we launched a special access and availability P4P incentive program, where we are asking for those providers that are participating in our P4P program with 200 plus members as of February 2025, that if they answer or respond to our access and availability correctly for non-urgent sick, emergency, and urgent appointment availability accurate at 75% pass rate, they will get an incentive. We've selected non-urgent sick, emergency, and urgent because we saw the volatility with the responses on that, and we want to ensure that we improve those rates specifically. So we put out an incentive for that to ensure the accuracy of the responses to those. This is in addition to our regular quarterly access and availability survey that we do with our network, across our network for BH and medical. And any deficiencies identified through our normal quarterly access and availability, we would connect with the provider, educate them, have them go through a training, and then they are selected again to ensure that their deficiency has been cured.
Lila, is an emergency appointment something that's kind of captured in regulation or something that is asked of us to look into? Like just when in the surveys, is that a defined thing?
24 hours. They take an
Emergency
appointment.
appointment? Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting.
And in our access and availability survey, Lila, I'm sure we've answered this already. I'm trying to get a sense of capacity versus usage. Is that captured in the survey?
Capacity is not unless the response is, we cannot make an appointment at this time. That would be capacity. And then utilization is they are able to make an appointment, but they're not able to do it within the regulated window of time.
Right, so we don't know that, or do we know that a provider has the capacity to see, I don't know, I don't even know how you figure these things out, what the capacity is for X number of patients in a given period and what the usage actually is for Metro Plus members.
Correct. You're talking about panel size, not during the access and availabilities.
We monitor it, right?
Well,
Or not anymore?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
H&H was, they had a pilot program where they actually looked at their capacity and they gave us, at a frequency, I think monthly cadence update where they believe they have capacity to see certain individuals based on cover, the PCP plus covering as well. And so we had used that as part of our algorithm to assign the PCPs to members because to a certain facility.
But
You can go to providers to say your capacity exceeds what you're using. Is it just not getting enough members? Did you?
No, so even on that, on the H&H, they stopped doing that now recently. On the community side, we never had that capacity. We just, we had the panel size, but
Right.
we hadn't done a validation on appointments to capacity because it's not just us. It's
Right, I
there's one
understand.
payer and then there's others. So even we have a specific panel size that we would go up to, trying to fill. And we never fill to 100%. We try to fill to about 90%. There are other payers that are also using that same provider.
Right.
Well, and also the PCP assignment / auto assignment in the new platform for the foreseeable future is more rigid. So we cannot add additional logic at this point.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't make sense to start tweaking as we're.
No, I was just wondering if we had the information.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
but it relative to the access and availability survey program is not assessed.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Lila, what did you say the last sentence? I didn't hear.
I said that in relative to the access and availability program, panel is not assessed.
I guess the question then could be if you have someone that's failing the access and availability, you would assume
Correct.
that they can no longer meet the standard. And would that be a trigger to negate you from assigning to that provider?
Yes, if their response is that they had no available appointments within the specified window of time, we would investigate and see what the answer is. And if we identify it's because they reached our panel capacity, we would close or we would address the deficiency with the provider.
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Moving right along, Laura, the Salesforce marketing.
Yes, good morning, everyone. So I want to ground everybody in the path to Salesforce Marketing Cloud going live. As everyone recalls, there are several reasons why we brought on Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Number one, to drive automation. Today, our process is extremely manual. Number two, increase our speed to market. Today, it takes us about 4 weeks to code a text message. Tomorrow, it will take less than a day. 3, significant savings. And number 4, being able to create a very personalized journey so that we can get consumers to do things, positive things, by continuously engaging with them and not getting what I like to call a one and done text message, but really getting them on a journey with numerous calls to action. Our goal is for Salesforce Marketing Cloud to go live by July 31. But in order to do that, we've got to make sure that we test its viability. What I like to say is making sure that we don't blow anything up. And by blowing things up, I mean that we can actually send a text message and the system actually works. It's doing its job. Number 2, making sure that phones aren't ringing off the hook because consumers are getting too many text messages. Number 3, making sure people aren't subscribing. And number 4, making sure that member satisfaction is at level or better. Again, let's not implode the system if we don't have to. And if all goes well, hopefully the pilot will demonstrate that we're seeing some gains in activity. We're getting people to do more things than they haven't done before and engaging. So we had 2 pilots that we executed. And the first one I want to talk about is recertification. So our recertification pilot was tested with EP and Medicaid members who were due to recertify in March. We developed a multi-touch pilot that was text, email, and outbound calling. We had a pilot of 3,100 members with a control of about 30,000 members. And we went from an impulse journey that was about 7 to 8 touch points, and we designed a pilot with a journey that had 15 touch points. Now, why so many touch points? Because my theory is you have to open extreme. You have to start with lots of touch points with lots of calls to action so you can get people to do certain things. And then you can back off and shorten the journey by just learning about what they're doing, when they're clicking, when they're opening something up, so you get to better understand their behavior. So what did we learn from the pilot? The pilot had statistically significant higher recertification rates compared to the control, about 2.7% increase, so very positive there. That gives us the ability to forecast out, if we know how many people are recertifying, if we could increase it by 2.7%, that would be a significant number of people over the course of 12 months. The pilot also had slightly higher portal registrations. That was another call to action that we have. We want people to register in our portal. Today, it's not as high as it could be. And as I mentioned, very low unsubscribes, phones weren't ringing off the hook, and we didn't have any significant issues with member satisfaction post-call survey. So next slide. Again, I just talked about this as a 2.7% increase. We'll go to the next slide. This is just a visual. So the box in black was the impulse journey. It was actually 6 points. The box above is the 15-point journey. What we're able to do is to determine through the journey, what are the areas that people are most interested. So, you know, the first part of the journey or the first message that has the star was the most highly open message. And then we had, you know, other key points in time over the journey where we could tell, are people engaging or are they not? Where they're not engaging, we're going to reduce the journey. So it's going to go from a 15-point journey to a 10-point journey, which I know makes our customer success team happy, but still allows us to get the same results. What did we learn about recertification? What exactly did we do differently other than more points on the journey? We had a pre-certification period. So 45 days before you were scheduled to recertify, we sent you a message and said, hey, look out, this is coming. I think all of us know when a big point in time is coming where you have to do something, getting a message from a company that tells you be on the lookout, this is coming, really makes a difference. That 45-day period, which we call the priming period, is where we saw the significant increase in people recertifying. So letting people know a key moment in time is coming was critical. So that was the unique difference. We're going to keep that priming period, reduce some of the other touch points so we can get it down to a 10-point journey. Next slide. So given all of our KPIs, we are going to go live with recertification on August 1 across all of our LOBs. And we plan to obviously monitor this. We will launch this throttling. And what does that mean? We will not send out all of the messages at one time in a point during the day because the phones would ring off the hook. We throttle over the course of 3 days based on what works for the customer service team and customer success. I'm going to move on to onboarding. So the second journey that we tested was onboarding. Onboarding is critical to engaging with our members in the first 90 days. We know that people often don't understand what to expect after they enroll with a salesperson. What am I supposed to be doing in the first 30, 45, 90 days so that I can engage with the brand? We know at day 90 is when we start to see people voluntarily disenroll. So our goal here was to create a journey where we inform you and remind you of the things you need to do, whether it's to register, whether it is to make a PCP appointment, learn about your benefits, et cetera. Again, this pilot was with Medicaid members only. Pilot was 1,700 members, control was 1,600 or so members. Couple of key findings. The pilot had higher retention versus control. I talked about the voluntary disenrollment at 90 days. We had about a 1.1% increase in retention over the first 4 months. We believe that's because we were talking to consumers, letting them know we're still in this journey with you. We just didn't enroll you and then disengage, which is what tends to happen with most brands. Our call volume to the call center was actually 2% lower for the pilot, which is good, right? That means we informed people, we kept them engaged, they understood what to expect, so they didn't need to call in and ask a lot of questions that weren't necessary. The pilot also had slightly higher PCP visits versus control, about a 1%. We know we want to engage consumers to pick your PCP, to schedule an appointment, to earn your rewards. There was no significant impact to portal registration, so we've got to figure out how to get people to register on the portal. You know, typically that's something you do because you have some kind of specific call to action. We've got to engage people, so that's a process we need to figure out. Of course, phone volume lower, not significant unsubscribes, no member satisfaction issues. Next slide. So again, our plan is to go live with onboarding to all LOBs. Again, we will be throttling this. So with respect to, did we get members to do something more positive? Yes, we did. We got people to recertify more. We got people to stay with us after the first 90 days. Did the actual platform work? Yes, the platform actually worked, so we don't have concerns about how it functions. And lastly, there was no interruption to our operations from what we can tell. So we're really excited about now going live and managing this whole customized experience. And we are building other journeys. We are going to have a lot of nurturing journeys around Medicare. We're building a Medicare agent journey. So now we're really excited because all of these lead generation journeys and retention journeys that have been very manual, we can now start to build them out. So we're going to be pretty busy between customer success, operations, and marketing over the next several months.
Am I correct? It's my understanding that it appears that in 2026, recertification is going to be required twice a year?
Yeah,
Is that right?
it's being proposed.
Being proposed.
Yeah.
So this is particularly useful.
Yes.
Because I don't even know, just in the period we went through, where we were with people being able to recertify for extended periods of time, and it took massive resources to get people recertified. It just is going to be quite an effort to recertify. Is it just certain groups or all groups, as far as we know? All of our lines of business that would have to recertify twice a year, do you know?
I'm not sure. I don't think they stated, but
They probably don't even know.
yeah,
Medicaid at least,
The,
right?
the current proposal is Medicaid. So that would be all of our Medicaid lines of business. So Medicaid, HIV SNP, HARP, that's the current proposal.
Okay.
which is the
Yes.
bulk of our population.
Ganesh just reminded me, one thing that was a big win for the team, and thanks to IT and everybody else who's been working with us, is we moved our H&H Gold acquisition journey from a manual journey to an automated journey. So today, Carlos, who runs that process, is literally functioning with spreadsheets to get data, to cross-reference, to identify. There's just so, I can't even explain how manual and painful this process is. I feel for him. We've automated, we went live, it's working. And now, since we've nailed that for H&H, let's use the word nailed, I think we got it right, it's going to set the stage for non-H&H when we start to do nurturing for other city employees. So that was a significant win for us. So thank you to Ganesh and team for
Wonderful.
making that happen. We're very thankful.
Very wonderful.
What technology do you use to automate it? I mean,
The same marketing.
Same
cloud that
marketing
you said.
cloud.
This is just another journey in the grand scheme of journeys that we're gonna be building for all of these mechanisms, recertification, onboarding, like all of these things using marketing cloud.
and are they building in kind of significant large language model presence, and how much of that automation can
There
you
are,
get out of
honestly,
this?
we're not leveraging a lot of that right now.
But that is the plan longer term.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to get the fundamentals in
Yeah.
place, right?
Don't wait
The
too
big-
long. It's gonna be standard.
Yes,
pretty quick.
exactly. Absolutely.
And they're
Absolutely.
nicer than we are. These are computer overlords. They
Yeah,
are. I mean, they're
Yeah.
they're very empathetic. It's shocking what you can get out of these moms.
yeah, yeah.
Laura, you saw through the pilot an increase both in recertification rates as well as improved retention during the onboarding period. Your recommendation or the action you're recommending is a different number of touches that was in the pilot?
On the
Some-
back end.
Somewhere in between the control and the pilot? What was the thought process behind that?
Well, basically, we know with recertification, the heavy lifting and the results are in the first 45 days, so we will not touch that. There is a law of diminishing returns where recertification gets to a certain level by, I think it was touch point 8. So our theory is you don't need to continue to send messaging if law of diminishing returns says you reach your number at about message 7 or 8. So our goal is to get the same level, if not better, with fewer touch points, just make the touch points work harder for you. So we were able to decide which messages to switch and reorder or which ones to drop based on open rates, click-through rates. So there's a lot of data behind it that allows us to make that decision. Like I said, we opened extreme with a lot of touch points because our peers in the industry did the same and then told us you'll find you can back off. So does that answer your question?
It does, thank you.
Okay. Angela?
Any other questions for Laura?
Done?
Yeah.
We're done.
Well, I think that was our last presentation.
Madam
There are,
Chair, may I take a point of personal privilege for a second? I'm sorry, I won't be at the full board meeting tomorrow or the anniversary. And I think I may be the longest serving Metro Plus board member at this point, which is shocking for, in a lot of ways. But on the occasion of the anniversary and everything else, I just wanted to thank everyone and say kind of how proud I am and how proud Dr. Katz is and the whole Health and Hospitals team. I came to Health and Hospitals about 7.5 years ago, in large part because of the relationship with Metro Plus and the potential that we thought it provided. And when I look back at that period of time, I don't know that there's a more profound transformation in any part of our system or operations than we've seen at Metro Plus. And it's a wonderful model of it too, because it is people who have been at Metro Plus for a long time. It's new people joining Metro Plus, and it is this kind of incredible melding of kind of relentless innovation and improvement, but really in the spirit of the whole Health and Hospitals mission and serving our patients. You've never lost that focus for a second, even as you've been this tremendous commercial engine in a very, very competitive marketplace and just become, so much more impressive and innovative and efficient in every other great business term I can come up with off the top of my head. But congratulations on 40 years. Thank you for allowing me to serve and be a part of it. And congrats on all you've accomplished. And I'm glad that is public and on the record and will in the clouds. I'm happy to be quoted by all the journalists and observers who I will scour this meeting record tomorrow. Thank you for
Get that in brains.
yeah. You can just write it on a plaque, that long quote. It just rolls right off the top. But thank you for letting me do that. And sorry I can't be there.
Very much
okay,
appreciated.
thank you.
You've been a great partner, Matt. In addition to being a great board member, you've been an invaluable resource to us. We have this subsidiary relationship, and it's a delicate balance in forging ahead with our own mission and yet being mindful of the relationship we have with H&H. And I think any time that it just got a little bumpy, we were always able to turn to you for some advice and guidance. So I want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you. Thank you. The bumpiness is what it's all about. It's, I mean, we could go off the record for this part if you want, but I mean, I remember meeting Talia for the first time, these leadership team meetings, and Talia was the toughest critic of Health and Hospitals and had the most to say about my recommendations and our ideas to fix things. And so of in that room of a lot of kind of people being nice and welcoming the new person, the bumpiest, most, the person who kind of called us on our stuff more than anyone else was Talia. And that was the number one reason that you were the greatest choice to be the CEO of this institution. And so thank you for being a partner and for building this amazing team and institution. So
Wonderful. Thank you for opening the door for the opportunity.
Okay, any other comments, questions, any more praise?
we can adjourn the love fest.
Yeah.
At any
Yeah.
point.
All right, great. So this concludes our meeting. And thank you everyone for your presentations and attendance.
Thank you.
Okay, take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So,